Let's get into what happened last night, shall we? I'm not going to lie. I turned it off and started watching Hocus Pocus. I swear to God, I could not with this first. I could not. I was sad. I was bored. I'm not the kind of person that can watch bad football. Matthew Hamilton, get in here, please. I didn't tell you this, but I absolutely turned it off and started watching Hocus Pocus with commercials.
I had a feeling when the text stopped rolling in that something was going on there. No. But yeah, as someone who's a connoisseur of bad football, I stayed locked in, and it was incredible to see the Jets come alive.
I was more locked in than the crowd was while I was watching.
You were.
You could hear a pin drop in that crowd last night there in East Rutherford. It was just bad, and I can't figure it out. And then I can't watch it anymore. Like, it's one of those like I can't watch it anymore. I can't, like, when I see it, I'm going through the thing and I see like It and all the scary movies, I fly through them because I don't even want to see the covers. When I used to go to Blockbuster when I was little, I didn't even go to that side of the store. With a pinhead, whatever, like, remember that guy with the pins? What was his name?
Yeah. Hellraiser.
Hellraiser. All those things. I couldn't even see the covers of these Blockbuster video things. I can't watch bad stuff like that. I can't watch scary stuff. And this is just like, it devolved into being boring, worse than anything. And then they came alive. And then I flipped the channel back. I was following it on Twitter, and I was like, all right. They have those Uncrustables at halftime. Let's do this thing. They came to life, and so did MetLife, and that was great. And there's so much potential. It's all like, oh, how talented, how frustrating, Greeny, like the OGs, the Rich Eisens are like, this is the most disappointing thing we've ever seen. And then they kind of finally showed up. Did they do enough though? We're gonna get into it. George Pickens will talk about Garrett Wilson's catch of the year. I don't know, like, one of the greatest catches you've ever seen. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Hamilton, but come on, talk me through this.
It absolutely is one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. To get that shin down as well, not just the one-handed grab. I mean, I do honestly think it was better than the Odell catch. I don't want to be too prisoner of the moment, but I do. I think it was an even better catch than that.
Why?
I just think being in the back of the end zone like that, like the degree of difficulty to snag it and then get the leg down in bounds, it was unbelievable. And he was incredible last night, and you could see it finally clicking for him. I'm so happy for Garrett too, because I know it's been a frustrating start to the season for him. We know how talented he is, but that's as good as it gets.
And I'm happy for Devontae. He was clicking too, and I wonder how much, and I'm not going to take it away from Garrett, but something about them talking to each other, the respect that Adams and Wilson have to be in that receiver room where, like, Aaron's got his own stuff going on. He's got his own fish to fry all over the building over there. So for them to sort of maybe dig in and help each other out, the 91 yards, the dagger late. Yeah. Hopefully Devontae's feeling okay. It didn't. He kind of hit either his shoulder, his head, something was going on. He left the game. He came back. Brees looked awesome. Like, it sort of looked like it was going on. What's up?
Yeah, it really did. And even on that, it was interesting to see too, like, how Garrett and Devontae played off each other. On that dagger you're talking about to Devontae, the safety's cheating over Garrett Wilson, which is why he had the one-on-one matchup. So it's going to be cool to see, like, as those two heat up, how defenses decide to deal with both of them, because it's hard to account for both. Somebody's going to have a one-on-one every time.
Was Aaron moving better?
It looked like it to me. I mean, that run that got called back, he was really pissed about it after the game. He said it was his best run in 5 years, and couldn't believe they took it away from him. But you did see there were a couple of times where he escaped some pressure. So it did look like we saw earlier in the year in that first New England game, he was moving really well. We know he's gotten a little banged up, but it did look last night like maybe he's starting to get a little bit healthier and move a little better.
Defense, by the way, should not be ignored here as we kick off November when football starts to really gain meaning. Defense kept the Jets in this game. Okay, there were a lot. The first half sucked. It was boring. I'm watching, Hocus Pocus. Seeing that all come together. It's a 2-6 team. It's not fun, and it makes everything really frustrating because it might be too late. They're a game back in the win column of the Chargers for a wild card spot in 3-6. This is why it's fun, though. I don't know if it's too late. What do you guys think? Let us know at Up and Adam Show on Twitter. They face one team with a winning record the rest of the way. We heard Al Michaels talk about how Aaron sat with him very confidently. I take stock in that, Hamilton, because I look at Aaron and I'm like, I don't know what his confidence I don't know if he believes in himself right now. And it's, there's a lot of heavy lifting that he's having to do, that the team's having to do. I don't know if he has faith. I don't know if he has faith. And then you sort of saw it yesterday in his frustration and his whatever. Then I liked hearing Al say that he came to them and he said, here's the path. Look at this, West Coast teams coming around, this. I needed to hear that. That team, that means they're hearing it. They think that there's a chance. There's a path, not an easy one, never is with Aaron Rodgers, but let's listen to what he had to say. I haven't heard this yet about what it means. I was, knee deep in nerd clusters while he was talking about the Jets' outlook going forward.
It was kind of season on the line there in the second half. Obviously, we wouldn't have been mathematically eliminated, but mentally, to go to 2-7 would have been real tough. Hopefully, it's give us confidence so that we can beat anybody, because we feel like we could. The way we played on offense in the second half is the way we've been kind of waiting for this offense to wake up. And I know, obviously, I was, close to perfection as I needed to be, but that's a standard I need to play at.
I like the deep part. I just want him to know. Aaron, if you're watching, I like this deep part thing that you're doing. 10 out of 10. This was a confidence builder. Bright lights, home crowd wasn't for you. They're booing. They're saying, I don't even know what they were saying. The broadcasts were trying to muffle it out. Twitter was saying what they were saying. There's a lot, a lot of negativity, a lot of whatever. Odds-wise, still pretty long at plus 390 to get into the playoffs, everybody, if you're hanging out over on FanDuel Sportsbook, as you should. But it's a kind of a jump. They jumped from the plus 1,000 they were heading into last night. So there is a chance, Dumb and Dumber style, we're saying there's a chance. And for the Texans, man, this was a concerning one, though. It's the second time in 3 games C.J. Stroud has been under 50% completions. The whole team was sort of out of rhythm. He's getting hit, lots of pressure. Nico Collins, he's expected to be back next week. I don't know what I really expected out of C.J. to get done, but they got the Lions on Sunday Night Football, Week 10. You got to hope that sort of snaps C.J. Out of Hamilton. I'm not going to call, is it a slump that C.J.'s in? It's also not all on him, and he's also he's getting hit a lot more.
Yeah, he is, and it's not, losing Nico and Stephon Diggs, it's tough to come back from. But there were a lot of opportunities that he missed last night with open guys. There were a couple times with Mechie where he has him open for some big plays and he wasn't hitting them. So you go back to that Packers game as well. There were some real missed opportunities there. So you hope getting Nico back is a little bit of a reset for him. But there is a little bit of a reason, I think, to be worried about what we've seen over this past month.
It's also I've said this all off season, it's very hard to come out swinging, take the OPOI, and then what is your second album going to sound like? When you get best new album, every artist says it's not getting on the map and the road to that. It's once you have that instant success, how do you follow that up with a second album that isn't just put on the shelves and nobody's buying it? It's hard to do. We look at Will Anderson. So that's a guy who we love and know that doesn't good. That's what's going on with him. We have to figure out how they can sort of start to look like a threat again. They're getting the love. I loved D'Amico Ryans yesterday with Sherman. I love the whole thing. Houston, they are in control of the South, right? But it's not about that, right? They've slipped to plus 800 to win the AFC, which is what they want to do. They want to take out the Chiefs. Can they do it? Not the way they looked last night. Longest odds, by the way, since they jumped into the contender conversation in the offseason. Very clear separation between the top 3. It's the Chiefs, it's the Ravens, it's the Bills, and then literally everyone else in a distance. Good thing for the Jets, not a great thing for this Texans team. So a win over the Lions puts them maybe back into that mix, depending on how they look and all of that. Nico Collins could be that factor, but they got to get better in a hurry this November to get that to happen.